Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if that is more what you're interested in. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Before we actually jump into that lower time frame count, I want to just talk about a couple of the possibilities that we are looking at here on the bigger picture. So we are looking at the potential that we could actually be looking for something like a breakout from this zone. We're treating this as 1-2. This potentially is another 1-2 here, and looking for this additional third wave to the upside, target being this 2,639 for our wave 3. Now, within this case, we'd be arguing that this is a bigger corrective move which is looked to complete into this point here. And really, if this is the case, I want to see this low maintain here towards this 1617 and see price push to the upside. So this is looking for that direct push to the upside. We do also have the other bullish case where we are arguing that within this structure, this whole move up into this high over here is effectively our wave 1. And then we can actually allow for a bigger corrective structure. Now, within this secondary count here, what this would be saying is that even if this does complete here and we have this as an A wave, we form a bigger B wave, something like this, we could still potentially see that drop back to the downside here, looking for this as potentially another wave 2. So once again, same idea here, potentially this could look to complete here, same idea, except with this we would just get one less series of fifth waves to the downside. The difference would be that our target for this as a wave 3 would actually be this 3,836. So a long way to go. We need to just bear that in mind. There's nothing that's confirming this yet. We have the potential of this. We need to see that market actually react in the way to confirm that move. Now, the other way that we could argue that this is taking place is that we're also looking for a bigger X wave over here. So if we just see a corrective move to the upside here, potentially we could still see downside come in looking for these lower targets here. So we need to just be careful of the fact that as long as we just make corrective structure here, we could still just actually be forming an X wave, in which case our rejection area is the 3,350 to the 2,060 level. Now, if we are looking at the fact that this corrective move is not completed, and this is what we need to be on the lookout for, is that we could actually have this as an A wave, and then we're looking for a bigger B wave here and still looking for that C wave to the upside here. So within this count, effectively what we're saying here is that we have this as a completed move to the downside here. We're looking for this as a B wave here. Now, I wouldn't like to count this move in itself as a B wave. We're going to go over some internals of these, but effectively the idea would remain the same. This target box here would be our typical rejection area, and we have actually already come up into the 702 with this. So if we do see price start to fall away, potentially this could mean we could look to move back down towards some of these lower levels. The 0.618 would actually bring us back into this low here, and this C wave to the downside would actually potentially look to bring us towards this 1469 if we are looking at this as a 5-wave move to the downside here in this way, as an A, a B, and a C. Now, if we do look to move down into some of these lower levels here, this 1-to-1 is quite interesting because there is potential to have a SR flip in this area, as well as having a daily and a weekly naked point of control aligning with the idea of this wave C over here at this 1-to-1. So going to be keeping an eye on those areas if we do move down into that. As well as that, higher up here, we still do have two daily naked points of control sitting at the 1670 and the 1636, where if we do start to see price move to the downside, we could potentially come and look to sweep these. And but really, if we are looking to move down here, I would say it's probably likely we're going to sweep at least this low here. But there is a little bit of horizontal support here, so we need to just be aware of that. Even higher up here, we still have some zones that we could see reactions off of. So that's looking at the idea of that break to the downside in that way. Now we're going to go over some of the internal counts here. So we've already looked at this one. We're saying this is a WXY, looking for this as a B wave. Now within this count, I would say that it's probably more likely if we're going to get this as a B wave here, what we're going to be looking for is rather something like this as A, B, and C. So we're going to go over this move to the upside here and discuss what this could be and what we'd need to see happen to it if we are looking for both those bullish and that more bearish case of actually having a break to the downside here. Okay, so the first thing that I want to go over is the idea of this move to the upside that we've got here. So currently the way that I'm looking at this move is I'm treating this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking at this as a fifth wave. Now, this fifth wave could actually be completed into this high. We didn't quite reach this target here, but we did hit this 0.382 of the wave 1 to 3, with this move. So this could actually be looking to have a deeper retracement. And the way that we'd argue that this is a fifth wave is that we would say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as a diagonal pattern for a fifth. Now, it is also possible that this could become a wave 1, 2, and then we see a push to the upside again. So really, until we actually take this low, this 1817, I will just be looking out for the potential that we could see extension in here. Now, this wouldn't really fit that well into the idea of this as an impulse, but if we were arguing that this is ABC here, then potentially we could see this as a B wave and then looking for a 5-wave move up for a C wave. So that would be something we need to be on the lookout for. So if we are looking out for something like that, what we'd actually be looking for as a 1-to-1 would actually be this 2174 level. That would be 1-to-1 of this move to the upside over here. And this would be that projected forward from our current location. So if we form this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this could actually look to push us up into this zone. I'm going to come in here. And looking at this current structure, we can count this in a couple of ways. We can count this as an impulse, so I'm just being careful of this, but we have also come down to the 1-to-1, counting this as rather this is an A, this is a B, this is a C for a wave, this is a B wave here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the downside. So it could technically be completed, but I want to see more of a reaction to the upside. Ideally, what we want to see for confirmation is a move back above 1941. We want to see a 5-wave move actually developing to the upside. If this is actually in play, where we're looking at this as 1, 2, and then we're looking for a 5-wave structure. If we fail to actually move back above these highs here of this 1975, it becomes more likely we're going to see that bearish potential come in, where we're going to be looking for a deeper corrective structure to the downside. So this could be a completed move here, and this move could either be an A wave or a C wave. Now, if this is an A wave, what we could actually have here is, instead of looking at that idea of having a additional 5-wave move, if we break down and actually lose this 1818 level, which would invalidate that idea of that continuation, what I'd then be looking for is the potential that this could be an A wave. We get 3 waves to the downside, looking to target out 1795 to this 1700 area, and then looking for the potential that we could actually see price move back to the upside in an additional 5-wave move, making this whole move A, B, and C, looking for this as this white B wave that we have over here. Now, if we had to move down towards this 0.618 level, which would be here, this 1755 to the 1745 would be that golden pocket. If we do move down to that zone, then effectively our 1-to-1 would actually be up here towards this 2126. Now, this would align with actually coming up higher here. And what I'd then be looking for is that if we start to push into some of these higher ranges here, we could actually start to form a flat correction here. So if we do form this as A, B, we get a C wave up here, move up towards this 1-to-1 here. Potentially, we could actually look for a retest of this high. If it's going to be an expanding flat, what we could actually get is this is an A, this is a B, where we actually target out this higher area here of this 2376 to this 2283. So the key thing within this is what I'd want to see here is this move get 3 waves to the downside, find support in this range here, and then look for that potential to move back up again. Or alternatively, if we're looking at that more bullish case, we'd be looking for support higher up here, not wanting to lose this low before seeing a bigger impulse to the upside. So that's going to be, what we're looking at with this as an A wave or a wave 1. Now, if we are rather looking at this as a C wave, what we could argue is that rather within this structure, we could have had this as this as a B wave as a flat correction, and then we could be looking for this as a C wave for a 5-wave move to the downside. So because of that fact that we have this possibility of the C wave here, and we did move up into this 0.618 here at this 1977, what we could actually see is price could actually start to roll over here. And if we start to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, looking to take this low, then potentially we could move down into the 1605 or even down into the bottom of this channel again. That would look to sweep those naked points of control and look to push us back down into the channel. So really, the only way that I would be looking at this as invalidating is if this progresses back to the upside here again, and we get that 5-wave move. I wouldn't want to see that move up past there, and we'd be looking for, ideally, really, I think if we start to break back above this high here of this 1975, it becomes less likely. but it could also be that this is an A wave, this is ABC, and we see a little bit more of a push to the upside here towards a 786 potentially at this 2048. But obviously, if we do move back above this high, we need to be on the lookout for that idea of that impulse to the upside, which would make a lot more sense then in this case. If this is a flat correction here, ideally I'd like to see this start to break down now, and like I said, C wave target, looking for this lower zone here of the 1605. Now this could then mean that from further back here, we've actually completed this as that corrective structure. And what we'd have to see here is that if we do have this as an A, B, and a C here, if we only get 3 waves back to the upside, we could actually form a bigger corrective move down, which is one of the potentials that we have within that higher time frame count. So just check that out if you haven't watched that video already. It'll give you a bit more insight into some of these waves that we're talking about. Okay, so now looking at the daily CPR, what we can see here is that we actually came up into these central lines and we rejected off of them and started to fall away here. Now, if we are looking at this move to the downside, we can see that we've hit this R1, this R2. Now we still have an R3 and an R4 below us, which is sitting towards this 1888.5, which would be interesting because it would actually look to sweep this low over here. And then alternatively, a little bit lower down here, we have this 1875 as a potential target as well. If we do see price start to reverse to the upside, I would be interested in these central CPR lines again to see if we actually face any kind of a rejection off of these between this 1984 to this 1939 region, as well as that. So if we do move back above these, we have some potential targets here, this 1956, 1978, 1991, and this higher target of this 2000. Now we're only going to really see that if we actually look to reverse back up here, and that would indicate to me that potentially we are looking for continuation within that move to the upside, either as a C wave, where this becomes A, B, and C, or alternatively, we're still looking for continuation in that bigger impulse. So we need to be careful if we start to break back above those CPR lines. This could actually be indicating we're in a bigger move up. Now, on the weekly, what we can see is that we're currently coming into these central CPR lines again. Now, we have lost the top one, we've lost the middle one, we still have the bottom one here at this 1888, which is once again quite an interesting zone because we have this swing low over here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that if we do see price push down here one more time. If we do manage to hold these and we actually break back to the upside of these, we could potentially look to retest this 1992, this level here of this 2048, and this area here of this 2135. If, however, we start to break down in a deeper way here, what this could mean is that we could be seeing something like this play out, where we're looking for a deeper impulse move here. We're treating this as 1, 2, this is 1, 2, looking for this as a third, fourth, and a fifth. And then potentially this would be able to push us down towards this R1 line here, which could look to be towards this 1849. Now, our target area is actually this zone of this 1873 to this 1862. But if there's some extension within this wave, potentially what we could see is that we could move down towards this 3.618 with this wave 3 here. And then we could actually see, this continue on from that point and look to push down to these lower levels. Alternate targets on the CPR here is the R2 at this 1761. We have this 1707 as a possible zone as well here. So need to keep an eye on these as price is moving down here. Potentially these could look to be pivot points if we do look to move down. On the monthly CPR, what we can see is that we actually have this line lower down here towards this 1882. So this is still kind of aligning with that idea of sweeping this low. It would be very interesting to see how we react in this level, this 1883. Potentially this could be a zone we get a reaction off of. Doesn't mean that it has to reverse, but it could be somewhere we just get a bounce off of. Alternatively, lower down here, we have this 1833. We have this 1782. This R1, if we start to lose these CPR lines, are sitting at this 1720. And then lower down here, we have the R2, which is at this 1507 and this 1393. So that would align more with actually having a bigger breakdown here. If we are looking to break down into these lower levels here, it would start to stretch that idea of this being another 1, 2 here. If we start to break down this deep, it would be more likely that we're actually looking for a bigger corrective move down here rather than looking for that 1, 2 situation anymore. However, if we do manage to hold these zones, potentially we could still see price be gravitates towards these 2046, the 2157, and this area here of this 2003 2,371. So we're going to keep an eye on these as we see price react to these different levels. Potentially we could look to see some pivots off of these lines as price moves down or up. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.